right then, two videos in one day. This isn't ever gonna happen again, hopefully. So yeah, hello everyone, welcome. Today we will also be talking about Kamen Rider ReVice episode 2. So let's go ahead and get into it. Just jump right into it. So the episode starts off with us looking into what's going on with the higher ups at the Phoenix. So I do now know the names of these guys. So obviously, we have George, who is the tech guy of the season. The person who tried and failed to become ReVice last episode, his name is Hiromi Karota. He's the one that he gets demoted in this episode from its commander to squad leader because of all of the mess ups he's been doing. He's also responsible for the mess up that led to the Dead Man's stealing a bunch of their Vice stamps before the start of the series. And then the big main commander guy, his name is Commander Wakabayashi. And so they're all talking, and essentially it's just Karota gets demoted, and then Commander Wakabayashi calls for Daiji and asks Daiji to essentially establish a contract between them and Iki. So then the next scene that we go to is we meet our, I guess, the people who spawn the monsters of the week. So we are met with a guy named Ibata and a golfer named Araki. Ibata is his caddy. So they essentially get into like a little argument, and then Araki fires Ibata. Ibata is then contacted, like he runs into Orteka, who is one of the 3 villain generals of the season. So there's Aguilera, who I talked about last week, and then the other 2 guys who I didn't know the names of. I know their names now to be Orteka and Julio, or Julio. It's one of the 2. I don't know if they're going with the Americanized pronunciation of it or the more traditional pronunciation of it. But yeah, so Ibata is met by Orteka. Orteka then gives him the Mantis Vice stamp, and then he goes on a rampage with his Dead Man. So then, the next thing that happens is we then cut to the bathhouse, where Daiji talks to Iki, and essentially it's like, hey, you want to join Phoenix? You're the only one that can use the ReVice driver. We really need your help, man. And then Iki still is like, nah, man, I just got the bathhouse, don't need any of that. Which I'm like, I still want to know why. I still want to know why he's so driven to work at the bathhouse, because we already know that he gave up his dream of being a professional soccer player. He refuses to want to become, not refuses, he doesn't want to have him being ReVice be the only thing that he does, because as we see when they get a notice that the Mantis Dead Man is attacking, Iki goes to fight as ReVice with Vice. On the way to where the monster is attacking, though, we see that Iki accidentally stamps his bicycle, which then allows Vice to possess the bike, and that's pretty interesting. Don't quote me on this, but I'm like 80% sure, doesn't Vice possess the Rider machine for this season? I don't know. Let me know that in the comments. I'm not too familiar with all the leaks and all of that stuff. So now let's get into the first fight scene of the episode. So they transform, and then Vice is an absolute loose cannon in this fight. He's like going around doing whatever he wants. He's like swinging Iki around as like a kind of human mace thing, using him as like a human shield to like distract the Mantis Dead Man. And while he's distracting Mantis Dead Man, Vice goes to attack civilians, and he's like, time to eat some of these people, let's go, time to eat. Which is like, okay, did similar things last week, so I think we can definitively say that this is, that obviously he's a demon, so it's like, yeah, He's gonna go do some evil stuff while he has a body. So then, in order to counter this, Daiji throws the Eagle Vice stamp over to Iki. Iki activates the Vice stamp, and that pulls Vice back into his body, taking away his corporeal form. And then they transform using the Eagle Vice stamp into the double Eagle form. So of course, it's using the Eagle genome along with the base design of Kamen Rider Double, which I think is pretty cool. Double is one of my personal favorite Rider seasons. So I was pretty excited to see a double form. I really hope we get to see an O's form as well. That'd be pretty cool. So then we continue on with the fight. Once they transform into the new suit, Vice and Iki get into a kind of tussle, like an argument type of thing, and then they accidentally cause the remix form to happen, which is it's a CG form, so it's not really all too good. It's meh, but like the attacks with it are pretty cool. I like the way that the Rider Kick looks. I like the way that the actual attacks of the form look. It's just the form itself is a bit wonky looking. So then, once the fight's over, Vice then like goes over and kind of like whispers into Araki's ear into trying to find Deadman, so that the Deadman group, so that way he will be able to unleash his inner demon and then essentially cause another Deadman to start running amok, thereby allowing Vice another chance to gain a corporeal body, because he only has a corporeal body when he's transformed, so basically only when they're fighting Deadman, which is like, you would assume that, well, that's how you would assume, it's basically shown that Vice wants a body, and the only way that he gets a body is when he's fighting Deadman with Iki. So the more Deadman there are, the more chances that Vice has to have a body. So then the next scene is that they go and visit the Iki and his family go to visit his mother, who is still in the hospital, and they're all essentially asking, "Hey, Iki, are you gonna join Phoenix too? Like with Daiji? Are you gonna join Phoenix?" And then Iki is like, "Nah, don't worry. I'm still gonna help out at the bathhouse. I only need to help out at the bathhouse. I'm not joining Phoenix." And the mom's like, "Son, we can handle the bathhouse. You're the only one that can use that thing. You're the only one that can protect the world." Which yeah, she's right. It's like, I really want to know why he's like, I know I already said this already, but I'm so curious as to why he wants to like stay at the bathhouse and give up on all of his dreams and all that stuff and only work at the bathhouse. So then that scene's done. So then we cut to the Deadman base, and Aguilera is at over where like the monolith is, who I still think that monolith is a Gifu, their leader. And then she is visited by the third General Julio, who has brought Araki with him, and they give him the Megalodon Vice stamp to go and essentially get revenge on his caddy for attacking him, which will also benefit them because, hey, look, another Deadman's running around now. More Deadmen that are out that furthers their plans. I still don't know what their plans are. It's only the second episode though, so hopefully we don't pull a Saber and have no idea what we are doing for a majority of the season. So then we get to probably my favorite scene in the entire episode. It is the bathhouse scene, and essentially this is where Vice and Iki are talking, and then Vice is like, "Hey, I wonder when the next Deadman's gonna show up. I even gave a hint to that a golfer guy." And then Iki gets pissed at him and I love this. Is why it's my favorite scene in the entire episode. It's such a creative use of the dual rider mechanic, where Vice essentially, well, not Vice, Iki transforms into ReVice, and then for the sole purpose of beating the shit out of Vice. And it's like, that's clever. That's so clever. He can't fight Vice unless he's also transformed. I love it. Favorite scene in the whole episode. They then get contacted by Daiji again, and Daiji tells them, "Hey, we got another monster attacking. It's a different one this time. Come on, we gotta go." So then, but then Iki untransforms out of the ReVice form and then gives the driver and device stamp back to Daiji, but he still goes to help out and fight. So this is another really, really good scene in the entire episode, where Iki essentially is fighting without transforming in order to threaten Vice, so that Vice will form a proper contract with him, and then essentially give Iki more control over what Vice can and cannot do. They make the deal, and then Vice is essentially now, as far as we know, unable to attack civilians. So then, this is the second fight scene of the episode. It's against the Megalodon Dead Man. So in this fight, we see that both Karuta and not Danji, that's Overdress, Daiji have Gundaphones, which are the second little gimmick toy of the season, like the second little gimmick weapon toy. So they have those, they are using those, and they're the only ones that are using them. Every other Fennec soldier is just using like regular handguns. Daiji also has a regular handgun, so I don't know. It's like, is there like certain conditions that they're only allowed to use the Gundaphone or what? I don't know. Maybe that'll be explained later on, hopefully. So then, in the fight, Iki discovers that the Owen Buster has a gun function. Aside from not just the axe function, also the gun function. You can like kind of like stamp it with other stamps, and it'll give it like nice little cool things that go with it. Vice steals a Gundaphone from Daiji, which I thought was pretty comical. And then we also discover that Iki can use the Rex Vice stamp and presumably the other Vice stamps as well to like give Vice kind of like these power-up moves. We see that he clicks it and then it gives Vice like a fire breath, which why does a T-Rex get fire breath powers? That's a bit weird. I don't know why that's the case, but apparently it is. And then another power that we see that is able to give Vice with the Rex Vice stamp is like a kind of dinosaur tail swing attack, and that's pretty neat. They also do another remix, this time with the Rex Vice stamp instead of the Eagle Vice stamp, so we see the Rex Vice stamp's remix form. It looks marginally better than the Eagle Vice stamp. It still kind of looks like crap though, it being like the kind of CG forms. I don't know. I personally don't like the way that they look. Maybe you do. Maybe we can agree to disagree. Fight ends, and then we see that Phoenix recovers the Megalodon Vice stamp from the scene of the battle. They did not, however, reclaim the Mantis Vice stamp from the first fight of the episode. So, overall, the episode I thought was pretty okay. It was pretty standard. It's not every episode can be as bombastic and extravagant as the series opener. So, all in all, I enjoyed it. It was okay. There are obviously not a lot of things, a few things that I disliked, them primarily being the CG forms. That's like my main gripe with the episode. I just really don't like the way that they look. Also the opening. Let's talk about the opening really quickly. The opening's visuals they maybe foreshadow a lot. There's one scene in particular that I'm very interested in seeing if it's foreshadowing or not, and it's so essentially Iki and a bunch of rubble screaming out to the sky, and I wonder if that's the bathhouse, and that's gonna be like something that happens later on in the season, maybe in the series. Maybe that'd be pretty neat. Also, the opening puts a lot of stress on the family. Like there's like a lot of shots of the family, Daiji as well as the sister as well. I still don't know the name of the sister, and that leads me to believe that who knows, maybe we can be like 99% sure that Daiji's also gonna get a rider form because he was supposed to get the ReVice driver, so that means he can be a rider. So yeah, but the sister also maybe, because we also see in the opening George looking at like these kind of three large human test tube type things, and in each of them is a rider. I believe the three riders that we see are Ichigo, Kuga, and I think I read online that it was Kamen Rider 7 or something like that. 7, something along those lines. I'm not too familiar with that one. So who knows? Maybe they could each get one of those. Like we have said, the ReVice form. The secondary rider could probably use maybe Kuga, and who could maybe be Daiji. Maybe Daiji could be the secondary rider, and then the third rider could be the sister, and then maybe she gets Ichigo. No, because we have the Ichigo Bata stamp, which we know is, I think ReVice gets that form. Not quite sure. Maybe she gets the other one. I don't know. All speculation on this end. We're already at 16 minutes. I'm already waffling on, so I'm gonna just call it here. All in all, good episode. I'll see you all on Tuesday for the Vanguard news video for the week. So see you guys next time. If you did enjoy, please like, comment, subscribe, and then I will see you all in the next video. Say goodbye.